Well, we'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Commissioners for Washington County to order on January 5th, 2021. It actually sounds good to say 2021, following last year. But we do appreciate those who are in attendance with us, and we have some special business today. Business of the county, which truly has put into position those who can serve in this republic for the positions they've been elected to. And I'm looking at our county attorney smiling under his mask saying, yes, indeed. So please respect the fact that we have others that are joining us that will be meeting via Zoom, and the site is listed here, but it's meeting ID number 875-1696-7340, and the passcode is 208701. I don't know how anyone not on Zoom already would know that, but if somebody were to at least look back at the record, we said it. Having that business accomplished, do we have Reverend Wright with us on Zoom yet? Okay. We've asked, therefore, for Brian Graff, our deputy attorney, to lead us with an invocation, following which our pledge will be by Under Sheriff James Stanley.
Our Father in heaven, we are grateful this day for our many blessings. We're grateful as we kick off the year 2021 for the blessings that we have, and pray that thy Spirit will be with us and strengthen us and help us to have a good year. We're grateful for this country that we live in and the freedoms that we enjoy. And today, as we swear in our new elected officials, we pray that thy Spirit will be with them to guide them and strengthen them. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Thank you.
Rising. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you. As we begin this year, I want everyone to know that I've taken a few notes on just exactly a few things we'd like to make mention of prior to this swearing in of these new officers and elected officials. You know, these meetings are public. There are such things known as closed meetings, but they are only for specific purposes, but mostly real estate, the protection of an employee issue, and legal matters. Otherwise, everything that we do is going to be out here right in front of the public. And we encourage those that are able to join at some point on Facebook Live, or our CEC channel, which is channels 22 and 108. And if you tune in there, you can see the times that these are rebroadcast. We appreciate them being here. We also notice that we from time to time have the press with us. We appreciate those that are here from the press. If you have any questions of clarification on items, we'd prefer that you ask your question during the meeting, even though you're welcome, or anyone else in the room, to come up and speak to us after. We're completely transparent, but it would be best if questions that perhaps were of point of clarification on an item be not only asked and answered in a public forum. So if you have any questions, Maury, in this case, just raise your hand. I'll recognize you. Points of clarification. You know, most of these items are administrative, but things that are substantive in nature, especially for expenditures of money, if they are not in an existing budget, we would open the budget and discuss how those things would be addressed or paid for in this particular case, but that would be also in this open meeting. Nothing is predetermined by the commissioners. We are, by state law, forbidden to meet on such matters and in private, and we will not do that. I'd also like to express my personal feelings. I haven't talked to my other commissioners, but in ex parte conversations where someone feels like they can come in and lobby a commissioner one-on-one, or even try to get two at a time. I personally didn't do that when I was on the city council nor on the planning commission there, and won't do that here. Someone says, well, gee, if I have a nice project and want to bring it in, well, we have a planning department for that, and those projects can be brought before before us through the planning avenues and, of course, through an open and public meeting. So having said that, doesn't mean we're closed off to talking to anybody. We always will. But for those conversations that may step over the line of asking permission for something that hasn't been brought before the public, I don't believe that's the course of business that we should take. Anyway, those are just a few of the things that will come forward. I'm sure during the year there'll be some controversy, and I know that we're not going to allow public clamor. We'll probably suspend the meeting until that clamor were to subside. Who knows what that issue might be? We'll ask Brian Graff to take everybody outside. Yeah, I'm sure you can just wheel them out. Okay. Having said that, there's a few ground rules for this year going forward. Sure appreciate those who've run a race and been elected. We'd like at this time to ask for those officials following to come up and then ask our clerk auditor, Kim Hafen, to swear them in. First of all, Dean Cox, Commissioner. And we're going to do it all together, so please make your way up here in front of the dais here. Tom Durant, Assessor. David Whitehead, Treasurer. Gary Christensen, Recorder, and Eric Clark as County Attorney.
Do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Utah, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
A black pen. I have a black pen, but if you don't care, but blue pens are often better. Well, our sincere thanks to those who are elected and who were just sworn in, and our sincere thanks for their families, because there are times when you're going to say, where is he or she? And we get it. So thank you for your service.
Thank you.
All right. Our first item of business is our consent agenda, which is a means of expediting the consideration of routine matters. If a commissioner requests that items be removed from the consent agenda, those items are placed in the beginning of the regular agenda. Other than requests to remove items, a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda is not debatable. So who's going to address
Mr.
that?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda. Item A, consideration of auditor approved claims for payments for December 16th, 2020 through January 5th, 2021. B, consideration of regular commission meeting minutes of December 15th, 2020. C, consideration of administrative adjustments for real property. D, consideration of administrative adjustments personal property. E, consideration of applications for property tax abatement. F, consideration of landmark testing professional services agreement for construction of the new administration building, and item G, consideration of modifications for constable term from 4 years to 6 years pursuant to the state code. And that is my motion on the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to second Commissioner Iverson's motion.
Motion and a second, non-debatable. We appreciate that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Our next item is consideration of purchase request by Ray. Thank you.
I only have a couple, thank goodness. First one here is for the Rose Department. It's actually split between the Rose Department and Legacy Park. This is for a piece of equipment. It's a 2017 model of a telehandler with 2,665 hours already on it, for a total of $74,000. The next one is for a blanket purchase order for drug testing supplies for court support services. This should get us through the whole year for $95,000. And unless there's any questions, that's it.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we approve today's purchase requisitions as presented by Ray Boyer.
I'll second that motion and just note that it must be the beginning of a new year because we only have 2 of them.
Right.
Yes, thank you. Motion and a second. Any questions on the purchases? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Ray. Our next item is consideration of resolution number R 2020-2709, a resolution approving State of Utah Department of Administrative Services Division of Facilities Construction and Management Contract Amendment. From time to time, we have other entities, in this case the state, which rents from us certain space to conduct their business, and from which we are appreciative and we gratefully try to accommodate where possible. So thanks to Nicole, this resolution has been brought to us. And any questions on that item?
There is some adjustments this year as the state actually downsizes some of the space that they're renting. Some of this is related to COVID. But Nicole, I just had a question. Is most of that reduction coming in the attorney's office as far as them reducing the amount of space that they'd like to rent going forward?
So far, it is only coming in the attorney's office. I have yet to hear back on the DCFS, which is located at the office plaza. And the AG's office and the attorney's office would like to maintain their entire space that they've rented in the past, and it will be ORS that will reduce slightly, which will then just be a benefit to the attorney's office as they're growing. We will allow them to move into that space because we have acquired 2 new attorneys, with the new judge that we have.
That's right, a new judge.
I'd have a question too, Nicole. Have you had an opportunity to look at the utility costs and things like that, and are they adjusted if necessary?
Yes, so I talked, Wayne Christensen, the one at the state is the one that I work with, and he said that I believe it's like the $4.50 for the utilities per square foot. I took that information to Kim Hafen, the clerk auditor, and he reviewed all of our contracts, and we are still well below the $4.50, so we'll remain at $4.50.
Super, thank you.
Very good. Well, thank you.
Wonderful. Call for a motion.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution R-2020-2709, a resolution approving State of Utah Department of Administrative Services Division of Facilities Construction and Management Contract Agreement.
And I'll second the motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 3, consideration of resolution number R 2020-2710, a resolution approving an amendment to custodial maintenance agreements. Paul was going to address this, but I'm sure
Maybe Nicole
Yeah.
can bring us up to speed
I'll
on
be
that.
happy to address it. So Bluemont Company is the one that we currently have for cleaning our facilities. With the demolition of the HCP building, we no longer need their services in that area. So this is an amendment to the contract to just deduct the HCP building, and then I believe this coming year they'll be back on the agenda to maybe just renew their contract for another year. We just are doing it year to year at this point.
Thank you. There'd be a lot of dirt out there if they tried sweeping it up now.
Start sweeping.
I'd like to make a motion in support of Resolution R 2021-2710, a resolution approving an agreement, an amendment to custodial maintenance agreement.
And I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Just a housekeeping question here, Brian. Would you,
That is the first pun of the meeting right there.
thank you. Would you clean this up for us? Those resolutions 2020, is that because they're dated prior to this year, or should that be 2021, as in case of item number 6?
I think they should be
Yes,
2021.
they should be 2021. That's probably because we were.
Oh, on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
All right,
we
so
prepared them last week and probably didn't think
it's
forward to-
fair
And
to say
it is correct on
in the packet.
in the packet.
Okay?
Well, I would like to make sure that my motion is Resolution R 2021-2710.
Okay.
And
the
I'd
pro-
like to make sure that my second is in the right year. I don't want to make any more motions in 2020.
And, yes, and that goes for item number 2, so also see, let's have that reflected in the minutes. Thank you. Item number 4, consideration of resolution R 2021-2711, a resolution approving Council of Governments recommendations.
Very good. So this is a list, I believe, that we need to approve every year, right, in regards to our purchase? Kind of looking for, I remember our discussion on it. So, on our local transportation funding requests.
Yeah,
Oh,
Washington
this
City.
is, yeah, this is the one that we did in the COG meeting. For those that might be listening, the Council of Government makes recommendations to the Commission on the expenditure of funds that are collected to buy right-of-ways inside the cities. And so this was one, this is us approving what was recommended to us by COG in buying some property in Washington City for their expansion of their transportation system. So,
Yeah.
sorry for having a brain freeze there on where we were at. I'm so excited about our groundbreaking, I just can't think about
Yeah.
anything else. So, I don't know if there's any other discussion. It's pretty straightforward as far as we're passing this through
Is that a motion?
as a recommendation. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt resolution R-2021-2711, a resolution approving Council of Governments COG recommendations.
You know, the nice thing about the COG is it's looking forward into the future and acquiring land while it's still in undeveloped or unimproved condition. And this particular purchase that Washington City is going to get is going to be for a new exit on Highway 7, which is the highway that goes up from the airport and is going over to Hurricane. That will give great connectivity, and this overpass and connection will be about a mile or 2 miles north of the Warner Valley interchange area on that road. So we're thinking way out in the future, and I think that's a good thing. So I'll second the motion.
Thank you. I can remember when they put the 210 freeway in Southern California, and they literally had to dissect whole neighborhoods and wipe out homes to put a freeway in there, and we don't want to do that. We want to buy raw land where we need roads. So we have a second and a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 5, consideration of resolution R 2021-2711, a resolution approving an agreement between Greater Zion Convention and Tourism Office and Canyon Media Group for graphic design services.
Looks like Sarah is with us.
Hi,
Good
Commissioner.
afternoon, Sarah.
Hello. This gentleman is a general services agreement between Greater Zion and the Canyon Media Group, as you've said. It's a re-up of our contract that we've had for them for a portion of this past year, providing graphic design services for our office. The new contract has us at the same monthly rate that we were working with them in the past, and we have an ongoing kind of schedule of projects with them. They're undertaking things like web and social graphics for us, materials for print advertising, digital ads, et cetera, and produce things like a new dining guide that we distribute to hotels and visitors and all of that stuff recently, and some other bigger projects on the horizon. So any questions along those lines, I'm happy to answer them.
Very good.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion in support of Resolution R 2021-2712, a resolution approving an agreement between Greater Zion Convention and Tourism Office, also known as Washington County,
Yep.
and Canyon Media Group for graphic design services.
I will second that, and I'm glad that Commissioner Cox basically acknowledged that this is the Washington County Tourism Office.
That's correct.
Our branding name is Greater Zion, so.
Thank you.
Second that motion.
I appreciate that. Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 6, consideration of resolution R 2021-2713, a resolution approving the practical shooters venue agreement for the Southern Utah Shooting Sports Park.
Very good. I'll speak to this. The Southern Utah Shooting Sports Park, for those that might be joining us via Facebook and not familiar with it, it's just past Legacy Park. It's a shooting park that is owned by the county. And within that, we have the different sports venues that have contracts with the county to manage different ranges. That's our shotgun, our archery, cowboy action, Mountain Man, and also we have our regular range at Red Cliffs. So what we're considering today is with our practical shooters, is we have just barely done a massive reconstruction out there to increase the safety and also the capacity to have events. And we've been working with our practical shooters club and worked out this agreement with them that would allow them to basically take some of the bays and also run events and promote the sport of shooting in Washington County of practical shooting. So I'd make a motion that we would adopt resolution R-2021-2713, a resolution approving the practical shooters venue agreement for the Southern Utah Shooting Sports Park.
And I would like to second that motion and also recognize the work and effort of Ron Whitehead, Leslie Fonger, and Commissioner Iverson in bringing this all together.
Yep. Yeah, Ron and Leslie have worked long and hard to make this happen. So
Wonderful. Motion and a second. All in favor, say bang.
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 Bang. He's testing us.
Opposed, say psst. All right.
We just don't want any ricochets.
Well, that concludes that, except for our commissioner's report. I don't want to steal any thunder. In fact, I'd like to ask Dean to comment about, and maybe Nicole to chime in, our recent groundbreaking.
You know, this is such an awesome opportunity to reflect on the growth, change in the county. And it's also a great opportunity for us to recognize the extreme amount of effort that Nicole has put into this building. This building has been talked about for the past 12 years. And it seems like I've had a ringside seat on almost all of those discussions, and it started, stopped, started, and we looked at plans and they kind of fizzled out. But with Nicole's effort and with the Simpson Coulter team, I am so thankful that this is what's happening now, because this building is going to be an absolute piece of architecture and prudence that the people of this county will be able to come and do that one-stop shopping. The groundbreaking today was just really amazing. I didn't know that she could control the weather quite the way that she could, but if anything, Nicole, you maybe could have cooled it down just a couple of degrees. But this is a great day for Washington County, and I am so thankful that as I look forward to see that building take shape and as it rises out of the ground, that it's going to be the one that we're getting and not the ones that we've looked at in the prior two starts, because this is going to complement our pioneer architecture and heritage, and it's going to serve the citizens of this county for another 50 or 100 years. Thank you, Nicole.
Absolutely. It's interesting, Commissioner Cox, as you were kind of giving that little bit of chronological history there. You know, when I first came onto the commission and you were county administrator and Commissioner Renstrom was here, we started talking about this. In fact, that was when it had been talked about for quite a while, but we decided then that we were going to start getting proposals, and we started working a little bit with an architect. And at that time, we were going to build it right here in our parking lot. And we were then going to probably take this building and the boulevard down, and we didn't know how that would fit in. And then when we started, the price tag was quite high. We didn't have enough money saved up in the bank, and we kind of pulled back on that. Then we started thinking, well, let's remodel this building. Remember, we went through almost a whole year of talking about remodeling this building. And of course, a lot of people may not appreciate this building was built to withstand nuclear blast, which means that if you go to remodel a building like that, it's going to be quite costly. And so suddenly we looked at ourselves and said, we're going to spend $5 million on a remodel and not have a building that'll be anywhere close to meeting our needs. My point in giving that little update is here we are, 6 years later. And frankly, I think that just what you said, the building and the design and where it's at is going to serve better than if we would have done it before. And frankly, we've gotten a few more years out of this building and been able to take some of that resource with the great help of our clerk auditor's office and discipline of the commission and discipline of all of our elected officials. I think one of the remarkable things is that we can build a substantial building with no debt and with no bonding and with not having to go out to the taxpayers and ask for more pay or more financial burden on them. So I'm really excited. It is interesting how these how things have worked out, and I'm pretty excited about this new building. And yeah, Nicole, we told this out there, and I have to tell this story again because as we were looking at the weather forecast, the only day that had really rain was Tuesday. And I was telling Nicole as we were talking that I did have concern that maybe the weather wouldn't cooperate. And she basically said, we're going to have to deal with it. We'll just have to pray it doesn't rain. And lo and behold, you look at today, it's just fantastic. And then I started thinking about our building. We remodeled the Boulevard building, and we had to tear that roof off. And literally, a lot of people may not know, that building was exposed to a bad rainstorm for months. But we had a historical drought last year. So if there was any benefit to a historical drought, we came through a construction project without any water damage in the building.
So, are you implying that Nicole is responsible for the drought?
Well, no, I'm implying that she might have more control with people who have control of things like that or more influence. She has influence. So anyway,
this building has such amazing character and charm, though. I'm going to miss seeing the rusty water in the toilet bowls, and the pipes in this thing, are ran in concrete. And being 55 years old, we've had them spring leaks, and you have to get jackhammers out and crank away to get to your pipe and try and fix it. And that's why it was so expensive to try to remodel this. But if anyone hasn't had an opportunity to come down and see our copper room, Larry, Greg, some of those maybe. I don't know if you've seen it, but it was when this was part of our nuclear fallout shelter. There's a room down there that is built to withstand electromagnetic pulse, and it's a solid copper room. It's probably worth as much as this building is now. But anyway, this has been a phenomenal building. It's served us well, and Commissioner, thank you for that opportunity to comment.
Absolutely. Nicole, anything to add?
No, I think that you've said it all, except for I just really appreciate the three of you acting as commissioners and being elected in the position that you are today. Just being forward thinkers. Like we've thought about, this building will take us far longer than probably anyone of us will maybe last on this earth. But we're really doing it for future generations and to keep the county in as great of shape as that we can and providing the best service that we can for the next 50 plus years. So I couldn't be more happy to be in the position that I am today. So thank you for that, because as project manager, I just get to really see, amazing work being done in the county. And I just am really excited for the project.
Just one last comment. We're a county that really has a lot of thrift. There's frugality with our citizens. They expect that frugality to be in local government. I grew up, my dad used to always say, you use it up, wear it out, make do or do without. I think we've used up this building. I think we've gotten the taxpayers' money's worth out of it. I will tell you that I'm looking forward to the summer days when, for example, senior citizens will come into this building looking for the assessor's office, and I have to say, well, you just need to go across that molten lava parking lot over there and up a flight of stairs. I mean, this will be convenient for the citizens. It's really not a palace to anybody who's elected. It's going to be a building where people will be able to come and conduct their business in a very nice place and be able to find all of the different county departments that they might be looking for. So.
And be proud of it. Like I was listening to Commissioner Cox today when he talked about when this building was built, how large it was. And I know that a lot of people will think that what we're building is very large, but this building we grew out of, and we're hoping that we don't grow out of that building. But just as beautiful as this is that's what we're trying to reflect over there, is something that the citizens can just be proud of and accomplish that.
Well, and it always pays to go and see what other people have done when you're building a building, and we took that time a year ago, and the first comment that all the other buildings we went to, some very new, others that were a little older, but every single place we visited, their one comment was, we didn't build it big enough from the get-go. And maybe they did here years ago when our county population was maybe, what, 10,000? 11,000. But the anticipation on the new building is that we won't walk in and say, we already don't have room. So it's a little bigger than maybe some would say could be justified, but we have an entire floor which will be just a shell in anticipation of some of the things we did tonight, other groups that may need space, or simply county growth. So trying to take that into consideration. Well, we're near the end. I want to make one comment about our rebroadcast that, again, on channels 22 and 108 at 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5:30 p.m., and probably for about a week, right? Do you rebroadcast it about a week? I think so. So these proceedings can be viewed there. Others can grandma any sort of proceedings that we have as far as records.
Or just go watch it with grandma.
Yeah, take her to lunch. We have to thank the staff that puts these agendas together. All three of us commissioners, we kind of have it easy when you think about that, because behind the scenes, we've got Cheyenne and Sarah and Nicole and then our legal team all putting these together in such a manner that we're not missing anything, and they're complete, they're submitted on time. We're not surprising anyone with something on an agenda, nor are we trying to exclude anyone. If they get it in on time, we'll put it on, provided they've gone through all the necessary steps. So 1,000 thanks from the three of us to all of you, and look forward to a bright new year. Without anything else on our agenda, Larry? Yes. Okay.
Decided no, it's probably gonna, not probably, it'll be taken down.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. We don't have enough parking stalls
Yeah, there'll be other
to
needs.
satisfy the city's requirements. If this building is occupied and that building is occupied, but we haven't made any decisions on this one other than it can't be occupied unless we come up with more parking.
And the way it sits into the road and stuff with the setback, we haven't made any decisions. It's such a big project just looking at building that one, but it won't be here.
Yeah. So, thank you. Good question. All right, having no others, we'll call it adjourned.
It probably should say it probably won't be.